Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is a scene for Salem by Night. Um, so, Lucy, for whatever reason, comes into the sanctuary of the Celestial Light Interfaith Church, and she sees a man standing there uh, with his hands tucked into his coat pocket, looking up at some of the stained glass windows. He's an overly large man. He's only in the low 6 foot range. He's a little bit broad, and he has this way of filling the space he's in. He couldn't be called so much beautiful as he could compelling. He does have a certain handsomeness to him. There's definitely a strong presence about him, but it's more that he's just kind of the type of person you want to look at and talk to. And he's standing there. For all the world, he doesn't have a fey mien or anything like that. He's just appears to be a normal human. Um, he does have though incredibly kind of ice turquoise blue eyes. Not within the realm of unnatural, but certainly captivating. And when he notices that there's another person in the room, he'll turn and look at her. And he's wearing a pair of very dark jeans, a pair of like black shoes, not like sneakers, but like shoes, a black button-up shirt, and he has a black overcoat over that, a very very warm wool overcoat with a scarf still loosely wrapped around his neck. And he'll kind of look over at Lucy, and he doesn't quite give her a smile or anything. His expression remains neutral. He just sort of looks at her. And then he'll look back at the window, although she can tell he essentially acknowledged her. He's not being rude.
Lucy will have paused in the doorway to cross herself, as she always does, and again, before entering a pew, and we'll sit down, because that's what she came here for, and we'll pull out her rosary. Because she doesn't want to interrupt him, and she came here to pray, so combine the two.
He'll look over the window. He'll notice where one is cracked and kind of touch it. Run his finger along the glass. He's looking at the Stations of the Cross. He's looking at like the relief for them. He'll kind of turn his and read them. As his hands are basically kind of dragging over the pews as he walks. He's not talking out loud. He's just kind of mouthing very softly the words in Latin.
Lucy will look up at him as he gets closer to her pew, but she won't interrupt his contemplation.
After a bit, he'll Lucy, by the way, can make me a wits composure roll.
Just one success.
It takes her a while to notice it, as she's kind of like praying and doing her thing, but she notices that the broken pane that he touched is whole now. It's just a crack's not anymore. And he'll walk back over in her direction and kind of sit on the pew in front of her, but like sideways with his back resting against the end, and just kind of put his arm, like lay his arm against the back.
She'll finish the section that she is working on, and will look over to him and say, "It is good that you could do something for the window."
That is the absolute least of this church's problems. And I'll kind of like chuckle. You notice, by the way, that hold on really quickly. How did she address him? Like in English?
Yes,
He
because
answered. He answered in French,
okay.
in like native French.
Mm-hmm. There have been many problems lately.
I've noticed.
Is that why you came?
Oui.
Sorry, could you repeat that? You went very quiet of a sudden.
He said oui. Oui. He said yes.
Yep.
But it's nothing that I can do anything on much. Just watch.
Some things take commitment and work.
Or a hell of a lot of luck.
Faith.
And exorbitant amount of stupidity, I found. That can also get things done.
Sometimes you just have to have faith that you will find what you need.
Or faith that others will. He'll give her a wink. It never ceases to amaze me exactly how far unwise people can get. Kind of motioning around him at the church. Like, oh my god. We don't need to underline and triplicate highlight that one.
Some people can do a lot of damage with very little reason.
Why do you think there was no reason?
I never said there was no reason. But some people can do a lot of damage with very little reason.
What sort of sense does that statement make? Or is it more a situation where you don't see the reason, and so therefore it's easier to minimize it?
I think it likely there is a reason here. That does not mean that there is always a reason.
Action without reason is non-existent. There's always a reason. May not understand that reason, or the reason may be flawed. But there's no such thing as chaotic mindlessness in humans, or in those who were once human, or human-like, and have a sentient mind. Hell, honestly, in my opinion, I don't even think animals really have no reason. I mean, it might be instinctual, but there's a reason. Reason is form, it's shape. Without it, you'll shrug. There's nothingness.
She'll shrug.
I'd argue, huh?
I never said that there was action with no reason. I said little reason.
As I said, sometimes what is little reason to one is simply because one cannot see the grand picture. And so therefore it's minimized.
This is quite possible.
It's very possible. It happens all the time. I see it every day. He'll reach into his coat and pull out a pack of cloves and tap one out. And light it.
So is there a reason you choose to debate reason with me?
That's where our conversation led.
What is it that brings you to the church then?
I told you. To take inventory of what happened here. And to check it out. See. Sure. He draws a very long drag off that clove, like, I haven't even been here for 10 minutes and I'm about to replace fuck for my commas.
So you are taking inventory of what has happened with the previous father, or you are taking inventory of yourself, or you are taking inventory of what is left behind?
All of the above, and more.
And what have you discovered?
Wow. Children have been busy here, is what I've discovered. This place has been desperately desecrated. And until an equal measure of positivity is brought into it, it's not going to get better, no matter how many herbs enter, no matter how many rites are cast. This place is defiled. And not one person is going to be able to fix it. I mean, the half-blood can definitely help. He's good at that. I'll shrug. I'll say, but he's one man.
And what form would that positivity take?
Well, positivity takes many forms. It needs to suffuse this place. It needs to get into the spiritual essence and realm of it. It needs to get into the stones and the foundations. It needs to get into the community and the people who call this place their home. Or it's going to continue to stay this festering hole that it is. And take another drag. He's blowing the smoke away from her.
There have been many who have seeking to put that positivity into this place.
That's good. Now to sustain and foster it.
Even those herbs and rites which you say will do so little are a form of positivity, a hope that things can become better.
Well, it depends on intention, but sure. Damn, it sure is clean in here. He'll kind of run his finger along the top of the pew and look at it. Not a speck of dirt on his finger.
We were working on that earlier.
You did well. I'll plod lightly. I met the one who calls herself Tala.
Tala is interesting.
She told me that if I harmed the squishy priest man, she'd kill me.
She is quite protective of Father Dom.
I've noticed. He'll put his fingers together like a little bit.
There are many people that are protective of each other and of this place.
I can tell. There's only one thing I'm protective of.
And what is that?
Humanity. Humans. I'm quite protective of that.
Well, that is good. And are you protective of them for their well-being or for your intentions with them?
It can, in fact, be both, but my intention is their well-being.
Do you think that was the intention, if not the effect, of our former priest?
No. Before or after his fall?
She'll shrug.
You see, because your former priest was... Well, I shouldn't go into such things. It's not really my place.
I know what he was.
He'll take a drag off his cigarette again. What was he?
He was not entirely human.
He'll roll his hands as though to say, go on.
He was a being that is referred to by many people as a demon.
Was the Dear priest a demon, or was he host to a demon?
That is something that is difficult to tell, at least from the outside.
Why do you say that?
Who can see into a person's soul and see what is left of it, and whether it has left with or without the energies that power the body?
Well, dear mercy, who could even be sure that there is such a thing as a soul?
She'll gesture towards the altar.
What, that? Please. He'll roll his eyes heavily.
No, what it symbolizes.
What it symbolizes? What does it symbolize?
A higher power, a being in which a person can place their faith, and who, if anyone, would know about the existence and the nature of a soul.
Well, let me ask you, what proof do you have that that higher power exists?
I am here.
That's not proof.
Considering where I have been, I count it proof.
You counted proof. Because that's your reality. But who's to say your reality is right? There are some mortally, even in this world, who would discount your reality and do more than them.
There are many who
Remember,
discount the reality of others. It does not make them less their reality.
my vision is a bit different than yours.
She'll nod. But then you perhaps have the answer about whether the man that he once was still remained in the body or not.
As I said, I have my vision.
So, you told me what you have learned of the church. What have you learned of yourself in coming here and taking stock?
What have I learned of myself? What I've learned of myself would turn your world upside down, tear us under your illusions, and send the sanctuary of your own ignorance crashing down around you. Ask yourself, is that something you're ready for?
She'll shrug. My world is the world that I live in.
He'll nuzzle into his jacket. I realized nothing here that I haven't had much time to think on already. I'll give her a smile. He's not trying to be cruel or off-putting, it's just he doesn't really have an answer.
She'll give him a smile back. And have you brought positivity with you?
I don't really have the benefit of those concepts being applicable.
Then perhaps you can take some with you.
I know it's hard to understand. I don't fully expect you to, but that's not a luxury I have. So hold on to it for me.
Faith and hope are things which grow when they are shared.
And I am subject to neither.
Have you no hope that this place will improve? Or that you will be able to protect humanity? No faith that it is worth protecting?
No.
And yet it is your aim.
No, it's my duty. There's a difference in that.
And does it give you satisfaction?
From time to time. It's both frustrating and satisfying.
That is true of most duties.
Exactly.
But you value the beauty of the place.
I do. And I can make small changes here and there.
She'll gesture towards the windows.
I'm not really allowed to change things on my own volition.
But it is a little positivity. What you can.
A little bit. But alas, I must leave it behind. I don't get to take it with me.
You get to keep your memory of it.
It is nothing to me.
Well,
But the memory to you will last. And that's good.
is there something that would hold meaning?
And shake his head.
But your duty holds meaning.
Well, not. In the way that the wind holds meaning. Or the flow of lava from the ground. It is a force.
Does that make it any less meaningful to you?
It holds no meaning to me. It's just simply is.
Well, I think it holds meaning to many.
Good. I'll smile.
Otherwise, there would be another like Father Dante.
There are many like Father Dante. They are legion.
There will always be legion. But there is one fewer because you have your duty. And as small a difference as that may seem, it is a difference and worth valuing.
I can't imagine a single soul that walks upon this earth that despises his type more than me.
Perhaps.
No, that's not a perhaps. I can tell you that with absolute assurity.
But yet you have your duty,
I do.
and that is something, and that is of value.
It is.
And it is a sign that it is not the kind, but what they place value on that makes the largest difference.
What they place value on is complicated. And dangerous and underestimated because it's love.
Well, he has a strange way of going about it.
Hi. How are you doing? In a recorded scene. Hold on. I had a really, really bad migraine earlier, and my husband was checking on me.
Okay.
So why don't you tell me about yourself?
What is it you would like to know?
What's your name?
I go by Lucy.
Well, then what's your name?
That is an issue which is more complicated than it sounds. I have had many.
Then what was your name before?
Estelle. And between Venus, Aphrodite, Lucifer, Vesper, the morning star and the evening star, the wandering star upon the heavens, Ishtar. I have had many. And what is your name?
Same. I've had many. I go by Lucian. Apollinio.
Sunlight.
How well.
There was a sun where I was as well.
You are from the realm of fairy tales and stories.
Of dreadful and terrible beauty.
I've been there. It's one of the places I've walked. I don't very much like it. Lucky you. That means you're not the real Venus.
Seeing as it is a large planet, that seems rather to be preferred to be a person than a rock. Though that was my part that I played for a long time.
In your story? In your fairy tale?
If it was my fairy tale, it would not have been so bad. They seek to make their own. I had heard that certain people were not able to pass beyond the thorns.
Oh?
But then, perhaps those telling me were mistaken.
I'll nod.
You say that Father Dom is a half-breed?
Yes.
What meaning does that hold?
I'll consider it for a moment. His father is a demon.
Yet he walked among the thorns.
No. His father is a demon who goes by the appellation of he who walks behind. He finds women of faith and he takes them in the most vicious way possible, forces them to bear his seed. He has 7 sons and 7 daughters.
And one of these is Father Dom.
Mm-hmm. He's spent most of his sentient life, his life in which he could have an effect, looking for him, his father, to avenge his mother, The actions that Father Dante were taking were in part what led him to come here. He's found and questioned every being imaginable, from the fair folk to the magi, to the undead, to those with unfinished business. Underneath his core of caring and unnatural patience is a man driven by the desire to never see that happen to someone else again. And although he holds that wrath close to his chest, it comes pouring out in other ways. And he's never been able to escape his father's lusts. He never will, frankly. It's the curse that he will bear for his blood. To lose it would be to lose himself. He'd die. So he lives with it. He'll shrug as though, well, that's the way it is. But in return, he's been gifted and given an immeasurable amount of compassion, where some of his siblings can call down holy fire or tap into reserves of incredible strength. He just has both the gentlest and strongest of their gifts. Compassion. Just patience and warmth. He's not infallible. He has flaws and sins, of course. He's human. But he's an alright Phil. He's not really within my bailiwick, as it were, so I don't pay too much attention to him. I don't consider him human, so I don't really... I'll shrug.
And do you consider my kind human?
The further you fall from humanity, the less I care. Those of you that have had the fairy tale warp you beyond, who become one of them, I don't care for at all. But those who retain their human side, who have that shred of humanity, well, there you see my investment.
And Father Dante, was he of interest to you?
As I said, the children made quite a mess here. Looking around the church. And it is rather frustrating, and I don't much care for being frustrated. The man he was, the man that was lost in all of this, I care for. The being that did this, he'll shake his head. You can give me a wits composure roll, actually.
Only the one success.
She can like get the scent of like bergamot and a more kind of acrid like undertone of like sulfur or brimstone in the air right now. And it'll pull out another clove and light it.
Do you know what his interest was in those of us that live in this city?
I'm not at liberty to say.
He had made dealings with the one that took me beyond the thorns.
What was that one more time again?
He had made dealings with the one that took me beyond the thorns.
To his type, deals are a way of existence. It's their curse from above. It feeds and fuels them.
To find one among so many, when the thorns are unwelcoming, it seems a deal of effort.
Sometimes. Or sometimes that's just the way your tale plays out. I can't tell you the amount of times I've heard people cry out upon high, Elohim, Elohim. Sabak Laksani. Father, why have you forsaken me?
And yet even when Job cursed him, he always felt he was there.
Oh, well, it's never the desperate who don't believe in the good Lord above. It's usually the comfortable who don't. Those who forget exactly why they need a higher power in their existence. Because they've grown comfortable. You don't really see any atheist congregations and collections on the south sides of town, do you?
This is why, of the many names I have held, I chose this to keep.
Why?
To remind myself of the pride and vanity I once had and still must fight against, of the temptations that surround us, and of the value of faith.
Until you drag off of his cigarette.
Although I think it worries the father somewhat.
Oh?
She'll just shrug. She looks like she was considering saying something, but just shrug.
Roll his hand again. Like, go on.
Taking the name of Lucifer to remind oneself not to make those mistakes. Sometimes people will choose to think it otherwise. An intention rather than a warning to themselves. But there are many who like to make assumptions about my character in many different ways. It is more important to focus on actions than on perceptions.
He blows the smoke out of his nose. Takes another drag. Oh, you are from the realm of fairy tales, after all. Your position would be one of stories.
I have fallen from the sky once. I think that enough. Though in fairness, I did jump. Though if, as you say, he is tormented by the lusts of his father, perhaps that explains matters.
As I said, it is something you will always have to fight. It's not something that's going to just magically vanish one day, or he'll uncover some great secret or something in himself. It's like an addiction.
Everyone faces temptations.
And he'll nod. He'll just, okay.
Everyone.
What temptations have you faced recently?
Earlier today, I had a very strong temptation to tell a rather vain young woman exactly what I thought of her. And of course, the temptation is strongest, and they remind you of all those parts of yourself that you fight hardest against.
He'll nod. Do you know what I could really go for right now?
She's going to look him up and down for a moment. Waffles.
But you can't, can you?
Have waffles?
Big plate of waffles, dripping with syrup and whipped cream and strawberries. So rich, decadent. It's only been one day, and all you've been eating is rice and beans, and it's just the start. Cereal and a roll.
I was guessing what you wanted.
Oh, but I happen to know you indeed like waffles.
I do. But
what is your most favorite, luxurious, rich food? Say it, Lucy.
Torta.
And he'll reach down to the pew in front of him and pull up a plate with one on it and hold it out like that. And it smells so good with a fork and everything.
And she'll look at it enough to confirm that's what it is. But then she'll look straight at him. There are frustrations and satisfactions in duty. She smiles.
Fork off a bite in spirit and hold it up to her mouth. Just a nibble, just a taste.
And she will push the fork away.
He'll take the bite of it and kind of chuckle. You're lucky I wasn't even trying.
I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
It's so good. He makes a food pleasure moan. Mm. Of all the things humanity ever did, I swear, really good food is the mother of all invention. Fuck the wheel.
Food has
Fire.
Food has many benefits.
Does. It nourishes, pleases the palate. Oh, I love you, food. He'll just take a bite. I think it's why it's probably considered one of the greatest sins, gluttony.
It also brings families together, allows people to show that they care for one another.
He'll hold the bite back up to her lips. Another one.
She'll shake her head.
He'll chew it. Nom, 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 nom.
It is good to know that we have helped one another. And the giving of food is a very physical way of doing that, of helping another person.
Well, since you are limited to basic foods, and I'll respect that, he'll reach into like his coat and he'll pull out a shiny red apple and hold it out to her. There you go.
Thank you. And she will take the apple.
And he'll finish.
As poetic as this may be.
He'll grin. I need to go and find that silly puppy sooner than later. And I'm trying to avoid your head priest, and he's going to be back sooner than later, too.
You avoid him because of his history with your kind?
I'd prefer not to smite him.
Smite him for his temptations?
No, for just his existence. I tend to avoid anyone bearing the blood of a demon with all due respect.
You have found purpose in your life, and he has found purpose in his.
I didn't find purpose, I was made with purpose.
And in that, perhaps, you may be considered fortunate.
I don't think I'm ever going to know that. I don't have that luxury. I envy those that do. He'll clean the plate off. Like it's the plate he cleans it, takes the last bite. Puts it back down on the pew in front of him.
As you say, he has been given a great deal of compassion, and that is a greater gift than one of power.
Mm-hmm.
I think perhaps when you are ready, you may wish to give Father Dom something of a chance.
It's not a luxury I have.
Your duty is to protect humanity, and he may not be all human, but surely the part of humanity most worth protecting is compassion. And if he has at least that much humanity in him,
That's why I give them space and stay away from them.
she'll nod.
His hand will reach out and touch her cheek. And his thumb will kind of reach over and touch her bottom lip.
She stays entirely still. Like she's waiting to see exactly why he's done that. There's curiosity, but that's most of it.
I will admit, you are quite beautiful. And I can think of none more beautiful than me.
Beauty is what I was chosen and shaped for. She'll shrug.
And beauty was what I was formed in.
But there are more important things than beauty.
Not really. No shrug.
Compassion is more important.
Not my luxury. But beauty is.
Do you sing?
Yes, I do.
Tala appreciates singing.
That I appreciate, not shattering her eardrums and rendering her mind asunder. Unfortunately, I cannot sing for mortals.
I can. And she will stand and go in search of Tala.
He'll catch her hand before she walks away,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll pull her close. And he'll lean down and press a kiss on her lips.
Yeah, she'll push back from him when he goes to do that.
It's a very quick action, and if you want, we can roll.
Okay. Though, if it's
He basically wrapped an arm around her waist and kissed her, essentially.
okay. In that case, she'll push him away while he's doing that.
Yeah, as soon as he basically got his lips to hers and essentially gave her like the kiss, as it were. He didn't open his mouth or anything. He just pressed his lips to hers. He vanished. He just disappeared.
Fair enough. And Lucy will go in search of Tala. And when she finds Tala, she will ask her if she wants to come to the sanctuary for some singing, and she will do some singing.
Hey, girl.
And with that, I think we can stop the scene.
Hey, girl.